So today we're going to show you how to load a design into the T8 controller, which is this controller right here. Then we are going to take the design and we are going to change the colors so that they match the colors on the machine. Then we are going to frame the design inside of the machine to make sure that the needle has good area and it's in a good place on the design. Then we'll run the design. And so this is kind of the basic process that we can use to be able to bring a new design in to the T8 controller out of EPCWin. And so for the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a USB stick with the Z00 file. This is the Z00 means a transport code file or a machine language file that we can bring into this T8, and that way the T8 can read it. The ZDF files, a PNG, a bitmap, a JPEG, none of those are going to load in, but we need this Z00 file. So once you have the Z00 file on the USB drive, you can plug the USB drive into any of the slots in the back of the T8. There are 3 different USB slots. Any of them will work. Once the USB drive is plugged in, we can go on the T8 and we can go up to R1 and press R1. If you ever need to know what the buttons mean, we can hold the I button and that will say what that button is. So I'm going to hold the I button now and press R1. And you'll see it says select machine design. So once we press the R1, you'll see below it says, where do you want to load the design from? We want to load this design from USB. USB is U4. Next, you'll see all of the different pantograph settings. And these pantographs are for different sizes of frames. If you're doing a cap embroidery or a border frame or something with another hoop size. Right now, we're going to be on border frame because we're using a border frame. After we go onto the border frame, you'll see that the USB drive shows up into our list and we can see all of the files on it. Here you'll see we only have one file and a bunch of folders. The file that we're looking at is the neworleans.z00 file. Use the arrow keys on the side to scroll down. Once the file that you want is highlighted, you can press OK on the arrow key button. Next, you'll be asked to load the file into memory. And this is the step where it gives the file a new number in memory. Here, we want to see the selections and press Free Design Number. This loads the design as the next available design slot into the machine. Then press Confirm. Next, we'll have a question for optimization. Optimization lets us add trims in different locations automatically or delete stitches if they're too small or other different optimized pieces. For the purpose of this course and for technical embroidery in general, we do not want to optimize, so press No Optimizations. The next one is Modification Setup, which lets us do a rotation. It lets us slightly scale the object. For now, we don't want to do any modification, so we're going to press No Modification Setup. Finally, you'll see the new file that we created on the screen, as well as the checkboxes on the right that show what is used in that design. And these are the operator's checkboxes that they can see if there is W head in the design, if there's F head, if there's trims, color changes, etc. If the file looks good, then press Accept. Now the design is loaded into memory. You can unplug the USB now. After this has been loaded into memory, we want to assign the correct colors to the design. To assign correct colors, we want to go to Assign Needle Colors. If you hold the I button and press R5, you'll see it says Needle Assignment. Press Needle Assignment R5. Now in the top, you're going to see the colors as they come in from EPCWin. So these are the colors and numbers that were assigned in EPCWin. On the bottom, the number that we type in is the number of the actual color. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to number 1, see that number 1 is orange, then look on the machine and see which number is orange. On our machine, needle number 2 is orange. So we're going to type 2 here, and that's going to assign anytime orange comes up to be needle 2 on our active machine. Then to skip to the next one, we're going to press the L3 button. And now we're on red. So now we're going to look on our machine and see which color red is. Red is number 3 on our machine. So we're going to type in 3 here. Next, we have a peach color on our machine. And on our machine, we're going to use that actually as a light gray. So we're going to go here to go to the next one over. We find the peach, and in this case, we're doing a gray. So we're going to do 9. Next, we have black for the outlines. If we look on our machine, black is going to be number 8. So we're going to put 8 in for black here. Now last, we have white on our design. So we're going to put in white here. On our machine, white is number 10. Now you'll see there's no other colors on either of the rows. These are all of the colors for this design. Therefore, we're assigned and we're good to go. So we're going to press confirm. Next, what we want to do is look at the active needle. The active needle says this is the needle that is going to make the next stitch. This is the needle that we're going to trace and frame the piece around. So the active needle is found here. Our active needle is needle number 7. So next we're going to go around framing. Framing the design using design range allows us to ensure that the needle is exactly where we want and is stitching where we want on the fabric. So incorrectly framed designs could have things like hitting a frame limitation on the edge of the machine so that we can't complete a design because it can't embroider more because it would hit into the metal. We could have incorrect location if we don't frame correctly. So framing is a very important part that we have to do next. And so to do framing, we want to find the design range icon. So if we hold the I button and press U3, you'll see we have design range. Press U3. Now here in this menu, you'll see the background color is different. And this indicates that we're in arrange mode, which means we're going to check the sides X and Y of the piece that we're trying to make. It's not going to embroider. And so what we want to do here is make sure before we do a design range that we're in design range mode. If you look up here, you'll see the design range icon is active, the little box, and that means that we're good. We're not going to start stitching. We're in tracing mode. So the next piece that we're going to do is look at which is our active needle, which is the needle that we're design ranging around. Right here we can see it says 7. We are on the 7th needle. And so if I look at my frame, the 7th needle is where the center or the crosshair of the design is. So right here in the center of this New Orleans patch is the number 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that that 7 fits well and centered within the frame. Then I'm going to look and I'm going to drive this center so it's in the right spot. Here we have automatic mode with the little green dot, and here we have manual mode. So we're going to toggle to manual mode by pressing the ZSK button. And now the light will be over here on the manual mode. When we press the manual mode, now we can move the frame around manually to where we want it. So when the frame is moved to the correct position that we like, we're going to press the ZSK button again to go back to automatic mode. Now, the number 7, which is our active needle, is located in the center of our design. We are going to see if this design fits by pressing the green button, keeping our finger always on the red button in case we have to stop it at any time. We're going to press the green button, and it's going to trace around the outside of this block. If it gets too close to the frame, we immediately have to press stop, so no damage to the machine occurs. So now we're going to trace with green. Watch number 7 and make sure that number 7 fits on the machine and is not hitting anything. Also make sure that number 7 is in a good location. If that looks good, we can press stop. Otherwise, we can adjust the framing again. So if I'm trying to frame to the top left side of the embroidery frame to be able to save space, what I do is I start my framing and I wait until the little crosshairs are at the top, and then I go to the ZSK button and I drive the frame back so that it's centered as far back as it can. And then I go back at the ZSK button, I press the green, and I stop the frame whenever the line is on the leftmost side, and then I can use the ZSK button to align the 7, align the left side with this. Therefore, we have at the very top left corner of our embroidery frame. This allows us to fit more embroidery into the frame as we need. If we like this, we go back to ZSK and we try one more frame again. Looks good. We're framed. We're in the top left corner of the embroidery frame. The entire design fits in that frame. The location is good. And again, we watch needle number 7 is the critical one. None of the other needles matter except the needle that is written here. So now that we're good, we go to previous design. And now we have to check oiling the rotary hook and setting the rotary hook up and putting a fresh bobbin in.